Welcome to the University of Fitment Industries, where we talk about things like wheels, tires, and suspension, because we have it on our website at fitmentindustries.com. I'm Alex IF on the photo picture page, and today we're going to be talking about one of the basics, the basic fundamental, the good old coilover, and probably what you may not know about them. Now, before you just click off and think to yourself, wow, I know what a coilover is, you can't tell me what to do. I just got to say, cool your jets, bud. I'd be willing to bet a cold spotted cow that you may not know a few things that we're gonna talk about today, which, by the way, spotted cow sounds fantastic right now, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, it makes no sense. And if you do know the things we're talking about, let us know in the comment section below so we can drop enough to pay respects. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe so we can take the YouTube algorithm into our own hands. Instead of YouTube assuming you want to watch us, we'll just be there for you. Always. Every day.
Forever.
Going right into the basics of owning a coilover shock absorber goes right into like knowing the kind that you're buying. Usually when we talk coilovers, we're talking about full-bodied coilovers, which replace the entire factory spring and shock setup and uses a new and improved shock body, which has an all-adjustable goodies section that your stock setup may not have. But what you may not know about just your basic full-bodied coilover is that they are not all created equal, but you won't really see the differences. When it comes to a price, coilovers will often get more affordable by doing a combination of the following things. A, they don't have parts in them you wouldn't notice unless you looked. Things like bump stops, strut covers, fluid type, and even threaded bodies can be missing from some of the most affordable private label coilovers. Or two, they're private label coilovers that are made overseas, whether that's China or another company. These coilovers are pretty generic and have a one-size-fits-all mentality. Same thing goes for the fluid and sometimes the dampening that happens in them, or sometimes just the actual just the way it's all set up is just not that dandy. The spring rate or style may work great on the WRX platform, but just like a day-old pop that sat outside on the porch table, it's not gonna work very well with your S2000. If you're looking to get something that you can properly toss around, you're gonna wanna know what's going on with the A list I just gave you. Just understanding if your coilovers have legitimate dampers is a good thing to know, because when you're looking at a no-name brand off eBay or something like that, you'll likely have a tough time knowing that. And spoiler alert, usually those adjustments that you do get, they don't actually do anything. But understanding the good old shock components aren't the only thing to keep in mind. For example, the spring doesn't just absorb bumps, but it also controls body roll. The spring's job is to do a few things for your car. All right, they're there to help you. They're like a friend you didn't know you have. They try to keep your tires in the right place when you're not on perfect asphalt. You know, things like bumps, potholes, craters, pretty much the usual road in Wisconsin. It helps control your squat on launches and helps your overall body roll. Selecting the right spring is more difficult than just trying to decide if you want a static setup or a lofty ride. You want to lean on the manufacturer's help if you're looking for something custom. However, a basic coilover spring in your coilover kit won't inherently be a killer on the track or looking to dial in your fitment, because it's meant to be that all-around perfect coilover. Think of the spring kind of like the basic fries on the size add-on when you're looking to go to a supper club. Little do you know that they also offer soup, salad, wafers, chips, coleslaw, which is disgusting, curly fries, and mashed potatoes. Most springs can be customized if you know what to ask for. But if you're not looking to dial that in, a lot of times you can run what they'll just inevitably give you. And when we talk about springs, we almost always are going to talk about preload. What you don't know is that preload doesn't have to be an all-elusive thing that's like Casper that you only hear about in horror stories. It's actually not that bad. Most coilover systems are going to use linear rate springs unless instructed otherwise, which means they won't change stiffness even under certain compression. This essentially means that using the perch for some adjustment isn't the worst thing in the world, as long as you know that the springs are linear. Now, don't go loosening it up enough to where the spring is rattling around. Max, you need to beep this whole thing out. Like a The biggest note here is that coilovers have a level of deviation in which the coilover will still do what it's supposed to do,
Even when you're playing with it.
But just because a threaded body has the potential to lift your car 3 inches in the air, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should. Same with your damping controls. If you open those up 64 clicks, a fluid that will actually end up causing some serious pain when you start going down the road. It's kind of like when you have a patient dog and then the kid is just pushing at it and doing things that it wouldn't, it's making you a little bit uncomfortable. Like, the dog is your coilover.
Don't kick my dog.
But coilovers can be quite comfortable if you dial them in within the variance correctly. When utilizing that little knob at the top to dial in your dampening for those turns, springs for your overall body roll, and spring perch and lower threaded body for looks, you can actually get a killer quality ride without losing a tailbone. But most don't think that they can, especially when it comes down to things looking nice. The reason why is because most end up over purchasing on a spring rate or crank one of their adjustable components on the coilover to make it purposely unfun. Even though it seems self-explanatory, these changes do matter. They just only matter when you're putting the coilover under stress situations. Even if you can't really feel them, over time you may find that they are the reason that the car is performing as well as it is. Now, over time you may even find that you love your coilovers enough that you want to run them for everything and all the time. You want to take them to bed with you, you want to give them a pillow, maybe want them to rest up, clean them, use the toothbrush on them, but next thing you know, it's starting to get a little bit old. Starting to leak in some fluids, right? You're not sure what to do. Maybe a good old bump stop went out. Something you may not know is that certain brand coilovers can be rebuilt, just like your motor. Fortune Auto is notorious for this, as many people end up running their 500 series coilovers forever and just want them replaced or built up with a new series over time because they are built like Legos and you can make them better. Rebuilding coilovers is super common in the race scene, but even in the scene of those that just love having a good show setup, it's only possible on certain brands. If you're picking up a coilover that you plan to keep for life, you may find a little bit of value if knowing is yours is rebuildable or not. So what's something that you didn't know about coilovers? Drop a comment below, and if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension like coilovers, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. If you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us keep making banging videos like this. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We will see you guys later. Peace.